What's up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be going over how to make beats that sound like this. For artists that look like this. Let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so we're going to start this beat off with a BPM of 180. A large majority of Eyedress's tracks are like 170 plus. I would say 170 to like 190 is a very good range if you want to make these like upbeat, new wave, post-punk type of beats. I'm going to start this beat with a very simple snare pattern that's going to sound like this. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a kick to complement the snare. That's going to sound like this. And believe it or not, the drum pattern is basically done. We only have one more pattern left. It's going to be a very constant ride that plays throughout the beat, and it's going to sound like this. Honestly, when you're making these sort of Eyedress inspired beats, you want to go very simple. Simple is always going to be better. You could definitely feel free to experiment and, do whatever you want to do. But at its core, most of these like post-punk inspired patterns, there's like a fluff flying in front of my camera. At its core, most of these drum patterns are just a kick and a snare. It has that very typical like every time I make a video, I have to do that. I'm sorry, but it's the best way to demonstrate the point that I'm trying to get across. When it comes to mixing these drums, it's going to be very simple. So I'm basically going to take the kick and the snare. I'm going to have to remember how I do this because every time I forget. There you go. So I'm going to click on the first track, hold control, and then drag. That's how you'll select your tracks. So I'm going to select the two tracks that have my kick and my snare, and then I'm going to go to an empty track, and I am going to right click down here, and I'm going to click route to this track only. That is going to create a bus. A bus is basically going to allow us to apply effect to all of the drums at once instead of having to go to each individual track and doing the annoying process of doing annoying stuff. All I'm going to do for the drums is add a default fruity reverb preset, and I'm going to turn the mix down to 32%. There's typically a lot of reverb on Eyedress inspired drums or post-punk in general, and typically it's applied to all the drums. Usually in a lot of alternative rock tracks, you don't typically hear reverb on like the kicks and stuff like that. But for these tracks, they're very like bedroom pop forward. You want to do things that are typically unconventional. So we are just going to go ahead and throw some reverb right on everything. The final point that I'm going to touch on for the drums before we move on to the melody is going to be the importance of sound selection. So if you guys noticed, if I switched out the drums for something that sounded totally different, the pattern would not sound good. Sound selection is very, very, very important when you're making any tracks that are inspired by this genre, which is why I'm going to be giving it to you guys completely for free. There's no catch whatsoever, and these are actually the exact sounds that are used by Eyedress, Ekkstacy, Thanks So Much, Mulchatoma. All of these super iconic new wave and previous generation post-punk artists are using these exact sounds. I went ahead and I sampled the Roland TR-505 and the Lindrum machine. I compiled all the drum samples into one free drum kit that you guys can go ahead and get in the link in the description. Pretty cool, right? So first off, we're going to lay out a basis for our guitar pattern that we are going to build on, and it's going to sound like this. I don't know how to generate my own tabs, but I'm gonna figure it out. So for the mixing on this first guitar preset, we are going to be using Guitar Rig. Hello, Guitar Rig? Oh no. Oh, that was close. You guys just witnessed my project almost crash. Does not want to open for some reason. What is happening? Do I own Guitar Rig? There we go. So we are going to be using the Michael's Delight preset within Guitar Rig. I'm going to leave you guys a link down below for Guitar Rig. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I just really am an avid supporter of Guitar Rig. If you guys didn't know, you can actually get the free demo, which has like a ton of presets, and you can use it 100% for free. So if you have a guitar, or even if you're using guitar emulation plugins, run them through Guitar Rig. It's going to sound amazing. As you can see, this just has some compression. It has an amp simulator, more compression, flanger, all this cool stuff. I'm not not gonna go into that. Then we are going to apply a chorus with the default preset. I'm actually very often using the default FL Studio chorus preset. I don't even go through and look at these other presets because the default one to me sounds amazing for guitar. And then I'm gonna be using an EQ. It's very typical with your guitar EQs to take most of the low end out. You always want to do that to leave room for the bass. And then for this mix specifically, I boosted this mid range right here and a little bit of the highs and the treble, you know, just adding more presence in the mix. And then I went ahead and I made this 100% stereo separated. I just wanted this beat to feel very full, so that's what I went ahead and did. The next thing that we're going to add to this melody is a little counter melody to build on top of our original pattern, and it's going to sound like this. All right, I'm gonna try to open Guitar Rig again. Oh, look, it worked. Okay, so the preset that we're gonna be using on this is Guitar Rig Chilled preset. Again, just, you know, amp sims, some distortion, some compression, very typical stuff, but I mainly just use Guitar Rig for the amp sims because they sound amazing. Then we are gonna go ahead and throw some fruity reverb onto the mix. I believe I'm using the drum room preset. I don't know though. I turned the decay up a little bit. Then we are gonna use a fruity parametric EQ. There was no point of me saying the full title, but yeah, we're gonna take all the low end out and we're going to take a little bit of the high end out, just kind of roll it off so it's not like super jarring in the mix. And then once again, full stereo separation, which you can go ahead and do by just turning this little tiny knob all the way to the left. All right, the very final pattern that we have for our guitars is going to be a strumming kind of chord progression. Like I said, I'm going to put the tabs up on the screen so you guys aren't really confused about it, but I was trying to kind of emulate that like strumming chord pattern that was on the track Jealous by Eyedress. I don't really think I like perfectly emulated it, but I definitely was like in the ballpark range. It is going to sound like this. All right, mixing, Guitar Rig. Who would have expected that? What preset are we using? We're using the super fast clean preset. I actually do this sometimes when I'm in Guitar Rig, and you could do this too if you're just kind of having a creative block and you can't really find any presets to use on your guitar. Right here, you can click this shuffle button and you could just get random presets. You could just keep going until you find something that you like. Then we're gonna add more reverb. Again, sorry, don't know what the preset is. Typically, I use drum room or large hall though, if I'm looking for like super wide ambient feeling guitars or just ambient anything. And then another EQ. We're taking out a lot of the bass and subs, and then we are boosting the high end pretty considerably. I don't know if this is necessarily the right move, but I was looking for that kind of like chunky, slightly distorted feeling that the chords had in Jealous. Did I accomplish that? Who knows? But once again, I'm going to be separating it 100%. And yeah, that is going to do it for all of our guitar. Now we are going to go ahead and move on to the bass. Yo, what's up guys? I wanted to quickly interrupt this video to let you guys know about today's sponsor, myself. If you guys are bedroom producers and you don't have access to real instruments, or maybe you do and you just want free samples, free drum kits, and a whole bunch of other stuff, if that interests you, you guys can go ahead and check out my VIP club. I'm going to leave it linked down in the description. Like I said, I send out weekly guitar samples that are 100% free to your inbox. I give production tips and advice, and you guys also get access to my freebie legacy vault. So that's every single free kit that I've ever dropped, which is continuously updating every single week. So more time goes by, the bigger it gets, the more you get. This thing is loaded up with gigabytes of melodies, midis, drum samples, and a whole bunch of other crazy stuff. If you guys are interested, like I said, link down below. Also, if you guys are liking this video, it would be appreciated if you leave a like. Let's go ahead and get right back into the video. Okay, I just realized my camera has 5% battery, so let's do this. The very last thing to finish this beat up, guys, is going to be the bass, which is going to sound like this. The tabs are going to be up on the screen, but we're basically just following this original guitar pattern that we made right here. It's already kind of in like that low octave area, but that's why it's really important to like very harshly cut out the low end, because you want the bass to have room to breathe. Oh my God, he used Guitar Rig again. We have BG Evidence. That's the preset that we're going to be using. It is a bass specific preset. I wanted something that's like a little bit distorted so that I could sit in the mix a bit better. This EQ is looking pretty messed up. I'm not exactly sure what my thought process was here, but I'm pretty sure there was like a lot of harsh high end from the Guitar Rig preset. So I just cut those out in a very weird way. And then I also cut a little bit of the low end out, which is definitely not typical for a mix. 3%, oh my god, okay, we're gonna speed run the rest of this video, so it's not typical for the mix. All right, and then the master, I did a little bit on the master, so ignore, oh my god, this might have all just not recorded properly. Parametric EQ, boosted the high end a little bit, put a reverb on the master and turned it down to 75%, and then just the default fruity limiter. Cool, all right, 2% on the camera. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, don't. If you guys want to see a more in-depth video on how I make complex, realistic sounding drum patterns, go ahead and click this video right here. All right, peace.